Every time I'm around one of them, I get blue.
It's not clinical depression.
Great. Got it all figured out. You don't need me.
3 ER doctors, 2 neurologists, and a radiologist have all figured out what it's not. We need to figure out what it is.
If any of the above-mentioned doctors were interested in my opinion, they would have asked for it.
None of them are willing to subject themselves to you.
No pain, no gain.
The blood work shows no signs of inflammation, and no one can figure out what's actually the cause of it. Nice try, but you're a misanthrope, not a misogynist.
What's the first thing you ask a doctor who's referring a patient?
Are you questioning my ability to take a history? What's the primary...
Not what, why?
Diseases don't have motives.
No, but doctors do. Why this patient? What interests you? Give me the chart.
Why?
I found your interest interesting. She's irritable and sleeping 18 hours a day.
What's interesting about that? Hypersomnia is usually accompanied by irritability in depressed patients.
True, but not relevant. She's not depressed.
Hello, she's sleeping 18 hours a day.
Fever. Clinical depression does not cause fever.
She could be sick and depressed.
She's sick. Ah, damn it, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Elevated sed rate indicates inflammation.
Hypersomnia and personality changes point toward the brain.
Not the spleen. Thank goodness we hired a neurologist. Brain symptoms. Could this be a brain problem?
No other systemic signs of inflammation. Probably not vasculitis.
What about parasites? Malaria, Chagas?
But the patient's never been outside of the United States, especially the tropics.
You mean she claims she's never been outside the U.S.?
Very good.
Doesn't matter. Blood and CSF smears show no sign of parasites.
It has to be a tumor then.
A tumor sitting directly on top of the brainstem that 3 ER doctors, 2 neurologists, and a radiologist missed?
Partridge in a pear tree missed it too. Redo the blood work and get a new MRI with 2mm cuts through the mesodiencephalic. And check for evil stepmothers. This much sleep usually indicates poison apples.
And no mass effect that we could see.
What does that mean?
It means we're still not sure what's causing the neurological problems.
I know. Some things are hard to cure. But what I just don't get is why it's taking so long to figure out what's wrong with her.
I know you're scared. I would be too.
I don't feel good.
You feeling nauseous?
Honey, you all right?
She's seizing! Get on her side. I need some Ativan! I'll get it.
What's happened?
She's having a seizure.
She's aspirating. Suction.
Please.
The MRI reveals nothing.
That we were able to detect.
It's not a tumor.
A small glioma could hide from contrast. We could do a PET scan.
Yes, that's how a responsible doctor would waste his time in this situation.
Suddenly, tests and radiologists are incapable of error?
A glioma not presenting on a contrast MRI would have to be smaller than a grain of sand, which does not a gravely ill person make.
It could be just post-ictal disorientation.
We would have seen improvement by now.
Late-stage Lyme disease can cause seizures.
Does the husband care about her?
He hasn't left her bedside.
Annoying. It also means she doesn't have Lyme disease.
What, love conquers all?
Lyme disease initially presents with a rash. Mr. Clingy would have noticed.
We've looked at everything else.
Did you look at her breasts?
Man.
It could be paraneoplastic.
Does she have any family history of breast cancer?
Her mother died of it.
The brain, but not the brain. Clever, huh?
How can breast cancer cause problems in her brain?
There are molecular similarities between brain cells and tumor cells. Paraneoplastic syndrome causes the body's own antibodies to get thrown off track. They end up attacking the brain instead of the tumor.
So, if you do find a tumor, what do you do?
We treat the underlying malignancy. Once there's no tumor to attack, there's nothing for the antibodies to get confused about.
If the tumor's treatable.
Exactly.